Welcome back to Keep Up channel. John Stapleton's funeral, Susanna Reid, Eamonn Holmes, and Penny Smith among mourners paying their respects to revered broadcaster after his death aged 79. Susanna Reid and Eamonn Holmes were among the broadcasting titans paying their respects to revered journalist John Stapleton at his funeral on Thursday. The broadcaster died aged 79 after his battle with Parkinson's disease was complicated by pneumonia on September 21. Stapleton presented on programs including Newsnight, Panorama, and GMTV's NewsHour during a remarkable TV career which spanned nearly 5 decades. Good Morning Britain presenter Susanna was seen chatting outside the church with other attendees. Also in attendance was John's former colleague Penny Smith. The pair co-hosted the NewsHour at GMTV from 1998 to 2010. Former editor of This Morning Martin Frizzell arrived to the funeral alongside Dr. Hilary Jones, who has frequently appeared on the program. Media executive and former BBC Director General Greg Dyke was also in attendance. In a statement after his death, Stapleton's agent Jackie Gill said, "John had Parkinson's disease which was complicated by pneumonia. His son Nick and daughter-in-law Lise have been constantly at his side, and John died peacefully in hospital this morning." Last year, the former Good Morning Britain presenter revealed his devastating battle with Parkinson's in an emotional interview on BBC One's Morning Live. "Speaking is how I've earned my living for the best part of 50 years, he said last October. "It's very frustrating sometimes, particularly when people are constantly saying to you, 'Sorry, what did you say?' And you have to repeat yourself, time and time again. I am fairly pragmatic about the prospect of this getting worse. I try to remain positive, because what's the point of not being?" The veteran broadcaster had previously revealed how both his grandmother and mother battled with the same disease. Parkinson's disease is a degenerative condition in which parts of the brain become progressively damaged over many years, with symptoms including tremors and slow movement. Born in Oldham in 1946, Stapleton began his career in newspapers before presenting BBC's Panorama and Newsnight, where he reported from trouble spots in the Middle East, El Salvador, and Argentina during the Falklands War. He also presented Good Morning Britain, before returning to the BBC in 1986 to present consumer show Watchdog alongside his wife Lynn Faldswood until 1993. His death comes 5 years after Ms. Wood died aged 72 after suffering a stroke. The pair met when she was working in a pub in 1971 and tied the knot 6 years later. They had their son, Nick, together in 1987. Nick, also a journalist, told BBC Morning Live last week that his father had a bit of a chest infection. He said, "Unfortunately, Dad's got a bit of a chest infection, and that can be pretty nasty if you've got Parkinson's. And I just felt like I really needed to be there with him this weekend and get him some help. And thankfully, that is now in place, and I'm hopeful that, he'll be back on form pretty soon." Tributes have poured in for the BBC and ITV stalwart, with television presenter Mark Austin saying his death was incredibly sad. Responding to the news in a post on X, Austin wrote, "Incredibly sad. A good man and top presenter who could turn his hand to anything. Best wishes to his family." Good Morning Britain co-creator Aaron Gordon revealed touching anecdotes about working with Stapleton in an emotional tribute. He wrote, "John Stapleton was one of the very best presenters I directed at GMTV and Good Morning Britain. His versatility was unmatched, and he had an innate ability to navigate any challenge from breaking news to technical hiccups, whether in the studio or on location. He was brilliant. Each Christmas, he and Penny Smith would bring the crew presents, showing just how much he cared about the team. He was truly one of the good guys. Rest in peace, Stapies." Stapleton and his on-screen wife Smith presented together for 17 years and they were emotionally reunited last month. During the sit-down interview on GB News, he said he can't do anything about his Parkinson's, so there's no point moaning about it. Stapleton said, "The future is surviving, basically. Doing my best to cope with this downturn in my lifestyle, really. But as I say, I could be far worse off. I've got great mates, a lovely son and a lovely daughter-in-law." Television presenter Sangeeta Miska said Stapleton was the epitome of collegiate behavior and a great journalist, role model and gentleman. She wrote, Incredibly sad news that the veteran journalist and broadcaster John Stapleton has passed away. I watched him on TV when I was growing up with admiration. One day, out of the blue, he sent me a very kind message about my reporting. I was absolutely chuffed. We continued to message from time to time over the years. He was always quick with praise and wisdom. When I left the BBC and landed at LBC, he made a point of listening to my first show. He could not have been more encouraging. Broadcasting can sometimes be an unkind business, but John was the epitome of collegiate behavior. Rest in peace, John. Thank you for being a great journalist, role model, and gentleman. I know you'll be reunited with your wonderful wife Lynn. My thoughts and prayers are with your family. Presenter Kate Garraway, who worked with Stapleton on GMTV, said she was absolutely devastated to hear of the loss of her dear friend and journalistic hero. She added, rock-solid broadcaster and the ultimate gentleman. His experience stretched back to when he was a cub reporter on the Yorkshire Post. On his first day alone in the office, he took a call from the police to say that they were starting to dredge the moors looking for what they feared were the bodies of murdered children. He found himself less than an hour later at the scene of one of our nation's most horrific crimes. Others will pay testimony to his incredible career better than I, and I hope they do, but all I can say is he was most generous co-partner, always lifting who was alongside him up, never crushing or ramming that he knew better, which he did, down their throat, never taking over and always fair, truthful and honorable. Huge fun too, no one told a story down the pub better than John. We will not see his like again. Thinking of his son Nick and all who knew and loved him. Fellow GMB presenter Charlotte Hawkins shared a photo of the pair in the studio together when he came on the show last year and wrote, "So sad to hear John Stapleton, our Stapes, has died. He was such a brilliant broadcaster and I loved working with him on GMB. A genuinely lovely man. It was good to see him when he came in just a few months ago to talk about his Parkinson's diagnosis. He'll be much missed." Manchester City, the football club Stapleton followed his whole life, said, Manchester City are saddened to learn that John Stapleton has passed away at the age of 79. John was a passionate City supporter and a regular at the Etihad Stadium. He will be missed. Our thoughts are with John's family and friends at this difficult time. R.I.P. John. He was a lifelong City fan ever since his father took him to see Sir Stanley Matthews play for Blackpool against the team at their Old Main Road ground in the 1950s. Caroline Rassell, chief executive at Parkinson's UK, said in a social media post, "We are so sad to hear of the death of John Stapleton. A wonderful man and broadcaster, his was a voice and face that so many of us have known for decades." Stapleton first delved into the world of journalism after he left school in Manchester and became a trainee reporter at the Eccles and Patercroft Journal as a 17-year-old. After working his way up through locals newspapers, he made it to Fleet Street, becoming a reporter on the Daily Sketch and then a researcher and script writer on This Is Your Life. He would go on to join BBC Nationwide as a reporter in 1975 before making his name as one of its star presenters from 1997 until 1980. It was during the 1980s that he and his wife became a household TV couple as they presented BBC show Watchdog. He would also present other BBC programs such as London Plus and Breakfast Time. In the 1990s, he presented ITV discussion show The Time, The Place, which he presented until 1998, the year he began hosting GMTV's The News Hour with Penny Smith. He anchored 4 U.S. elections, the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami and Pope John Paul II funeral. GMTV ended in September 2010, but Stapleton would continue presenting its replacements, Daybreak and Good Morning Britain, until 2015. Stapleton was awarded the Royal Television Society's News Presenter of the Year for his coverage of the 2003 war in Iraq and interviews with the then Prime Minister Tony Blair. In a 2008 interview, he said the best part of his job was being able to say, while you have been asleep, telling the viewer something they didn't know when they went to bed. That, and being sent out to places such as Iraq. Mentally and physically taxing, but a great buzz, especially when it's all over. Source: dailymail.co.uk. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.